kids.
Yep.
You know how it goes. It's almost like the silence. The silence bothers me now. You know, like 'cause you're so used to like something going on. The silence is one of those things that's like, man, like I feel like I need a baby crying or somebody yelling or something like that. So, thanks, Nicole. So yeah, obviously, guys, I'm Michael. If you don't know, Carly's sister and I, soon to be married. Just knocked out second cut of President's Team earlier this morning. Yeah, thank you guys. So it's awesome. So we're looking at potentially first cut of 15K in April. We'll give it a run this month and see what happens. But April, that's what it's looking like. So super excited. And obviously, Nicole spoke to it a little bit, but nutrition clubs, right? So just to give you a little backstory, and then we can open it up for Q&A, and I can kind of go through some stuff if you guys want. But we actually started our business 6 years ago doing fit clubs. So similar to how some of you guys may have got started, or maybe you still do that, we chose to do fit club. Problem is fit club in the Midwest, where it's only warm like 4 months out of the year here. So we were doing fit club for 4 months. We'd have to, shut it down. And then it was kind of like, all right, well, what do we do now to build our business? So I actually had a nutrition club 5.5 years ago, and it wasn't a success. We ended up having to close it down, partially due to location. I was active world team at the time, and I wasn't the person to be able to handle something like that at the time. Kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out with Herbalife, and it wasn't good. So interestingly enough, the thing that I told myself I would never ever do again has been the thing that has totally transformed our business in the last 15 months. So we have gone from brand new 2.5 get to 2.5 get to second cut of Pres, soon to be third cut of Pres in 15 months. Basically due to nutrition clubs. So like I said, the thing that I didn't want to do, the thing that was scary to me, the thing that I thought that was going to fail has been the lead contributor in the growth of our business, right? So I'm not sure where you guys are at, but if nutrition clubs are something you want to take on, and by nutrition clubs, I can show you some of our stuff. So by nutrition clubs, I would say that ours are more like cafes, okay, like cool cafes. When I think of nutrition club, I think of green walls, Herbalife stuff everywhere, President's Team pin on the wall. Not that that's wrong, but what we found here, and I don't know where you guys are at, it must be all over, but what we found here was that the Herbalife Nutrition Club just didn't work in our marketplace. So we kind of had to take the Herbalife Nutrition Club and make it, I don't want to say cool, but make it more modern and, sexy and Starbucks feel and stuff like that. So we went from Mace, I love you, bud, but can you just a little bit? So we went from basically, like I said, no nutrition clubs. So now we have 13 in our organization, soon to be 17 here in the next few months, in 15 months. And it's just been absolutely incredible. So if you guys have any specific questions or anything that you would like me to take you through, I'm willing to give. I told Nicole already, this is family. So anything that Carly and I have, anything that we've created, any documents that we have, we're willing to share that. So you guys can ask anything you want. And my goal is to have you guys fired up to go do nutrition clubs and really to paint the picture for you guys. I would just encourage you to take a look at where you're at currently in the marketing plan, and then really think about where you could be 15 months from now if you really decided to take this on. So for Carly and I, it was $3,500 a month, and then 15 months later, over 20,000 a month. Strictly by number one, becoming the people, doing the thing, doing PD, going to the events, nutrition clubs, and all that. So are there any specific questions that you guys have, or anything specific that you'd like me to share for you? If so, just let it rip.
Okay. Hey, Michael, thank you so much for doing this call.
Yeah, no problem.
So excited. I know the first time we talked was like back in August when you did our qualifiers call.
Yeah.
And it planted a ton of seeds that are definitely coming to fruition right now. So I have a ton of questions. So I don't want to like monopolize the call. So if anyone else is like, hey, I got a question, just like shut me up. And they're not in they're not in any type of order.
Yeah,
so
my life is
all over the place
so
as they came into my mind. So I guess I'll just start with the first one that I have written down, and it kind of gets into duplication, which will bring me to my next question about how you duplicated 16 clubs within your org. But what does it look like for you from like doing the invitation to the person coming in your door to that person like finding out? Because obviously you've changed your look. Like they're not walking in and being like slapped by Herbalife. So it's a more subtle type of approach. What does that conversation or that relationship look like in growing from like invitation to now this person is like my client, even beyond just coming in for a shake? Or do a majority of your people just do their daily consumptions? What is the focus?
Good question. So the answer is both. I think the first thing when it comes to nutrition clubs is really, and I guess you could apply this to if you're not doing nutrition clubs as well. But one thing that's worked for us is you're always going to hear us talk about creating the ultimate customer experience. So what we decided was is you know, not that it's bad, but if you walk in the door of somewhere and it screams Herbalife, for people like us, like we understand, like that is, we're in that world. We've been Herbalized. We have a button on, we rep the brand, we bleed green, like, you know, so that's us. What I had to understand is that not everybody feels that way. So it's interesting because we actually Carly and I had 2 clubs open in our organization before we decided to open our own. And I was in that fear mindset of, look, I don't want to do this. It's going to fail. The last one we did failed. It had lime green walls and black and 24 and all that. So we just decided, like the team was like, hey, look, you guys can't really tell us what to do with clubs because you don't have it and you're not doing it. So Carly and I said, okay, look, we'll just go open one and we'll show you instead of trying to tell you. So we just did the opposite. And I just kind of asked, like, I would literally sit down with customers at the bar at these 2 clubs and I would say, hey, like, what do you guys think? And they would be like, oh, it's very green in here. It's very Herbalife-y. And I took that as like, oh my gosh, like this is a nugget. Okay. So we're going to do white walls. We're going to do woods. We're going to do green plants. We're going to have soft top hits music, and it's going to be like Starbucks. Okay. So when it comes to creating the ultimate customer experience, it's like, what do they think about when they walk in? The reality of it is if somebody walks in and they have no idea, and this isn't our fault, but if somebody walks in and they have no idea what Herbalife is, or if we walk in somewhere and we have no idea what it is, the first thing that we do is we take our iPhone and we Google what it is. And what we found was that when people would Google Herbalife, a bunch of crap, false stuff would come up. So when you walk into our club, there's nothing Herbalife. It literally looks like a smoothie, juice bar, and we just use the Herbalife products to make our shakes. Okay, so from the ultimate customer experience standpoint, they immediately walk in, they don't question what it is, they feel welcome. We take them through the sheet, here's what we order, here's all the shakes we have, blah, blah, blah. And really what it comes down to is getting people to come in for daily consumptions long enough for them to say, hey, like, I spend a lot of money here, or I'm here all the time. And we'll say, yeah, for sure. You're in like every day. You know, you could do this at home for cheaper. And they're like, well, how do I do that? And then boom. Okay. You can order retail, preferred member, whatever you choose to do. But usually it takes a few months to do that. So the cool thing is at our club, it's been awesome. We average about 220 shakes a day, consumptions a day. This week we've been over 300 4 times, and our biggest day is 723. So whatever model you're doing now is, and we're in the snow. Yeah, it's cold 8 months of the year here. So whatever model you're doing, it's not wrong, but this is what I had to understand was how many people would it take for me to invite to Fit Club to get that one person to say, hey, I want to do this. What is this Herbalife stuff? And thinking back to the Fit Club model that we had, I would literally have to invite and get 10, 20, 30 new people there to get 10 customers, to get 5 PMs, to get maybe 2 distributors. Now you have 200 plus people, 100 plus people coming into the club every single day, drinking the shake, drinking the tea, feeling the energy. And here's the biggest thing. When it comes to the value of the customer experience, the shake and tea are the least important. You are more important than the shake and tea and the relationship that you have with them. That is like the biggest thing that we found is people come in there, they don't care about their shake. They don't care about their tea. Sure, it tastes good. They get energy. But most of these people are coming in because they just want you to say their name. They want you to ask them about their day. They want you to tell them to have a good day. They want you to say, we'll see you tomorrow. Because here's the thing is people go home to their shitty, miserable life, excuse my language, never get recognized for anything. Nobody ever says their name. They go to a job all day where nobody appreciates them. So when they walk into your club, they feel like they're a regular and they feel special. And once they feel that, then you have them. Now they're coming in the club every single day. And eventually they have to ask, how can I join what you're doing? And then what you promote inside of the club with weight loss challenges, fit camps, you can invite to local stuff, HOMs, hey, come just check this out. So then it's Herbalife, right? So it's customer experience, build a relationship, then it's our DMOs. And then we just cycle them through the wheel. And that's really it. So for Carly and I, we've got, I don't know how many, we've only been open, we'll be open a year, but we've got so many customers out of it. We've probably added 8 active supervisors out of it, 3 being frontline. Nicole says, what is our advice to getting to 100 to 200 consumptions a day? Yeah, I got that. Does that answer that, Asia, though? So customer experience is the most important thing for sure. And it's easy. Like when you have a product that's chocolate Oreo cheesecake or brownie batter or blueberry cheesecake, it's not wild berry and PDM. It's not chocolate and PDM. It's literally, it tastes like it's terrible for you, but it's so good, right? So you have people coming in every single day getting it. And it's literally like 200 people coming to your fit camp or your STS or whatever you guys do every single day. So you're just increasing your odds of getting the people to say, hey, I want to do this at home. I want to be a PM. I want to be a distributor, and so on. So we've actually also had, from a duplication standpoint, we have personally duplicated, meaning we've had people come in the bar, ask customers, and 2 of them came in as customers, got signed up as PMs, love the products, got started as distributors, and now they have their own clubs that are both doing 100 plus shakes a day, all within like 6 to 8 months. So a club doing, so that basically right there is 40,000 volume points in the organization. in 6 to 8 months. Another girl who was already a distributor got started working out of the club as an operator. 4 months in, went opened her own club, and she's doing about 150 shakes a day. So there's 3, and she's brand new Get team, stuck at World Team for 6 years, brand new Get team as of yesterday.
A question along with that. So for like your newer person, she was in for 4 months and got started now. How many people, I would say, like, or like, what do you normally see, or what would you advise for someone getting started in the club? Like, say they don't have a team of X amount of people, but they're like, hey, I want to have a club. It's me and maybe 2 other people. Are you behind it, or do you tell them to wait on it, or how do you guide them?
I think it's a good question. I think it totally depends on the person. So one thing that we found is that it takes a certain type of location, it takes a certain type of person, most importantly, to go out and duplicate the club. So you'll be able to tell, like, is this person, should they be doing this based on their behavior? We like to have them come in and work at the club first, see how they are, what kind of ownership they take, how they contribute, are they on the calls, are they at the events, does this make sense for them? Because here's the thing is, when it comes to, like, I'm not gonna lie, the club itself can be sometimes stressful because there's so much that you have to do. Now, it's super rewarding, like it's transformed our entire life, honestly, but you know, there's things like you get to go there every single day. You get to work the long hours. You get to contribute the products. You get to do the invites. If you're having a bad day, you still get to leave it at the door and treat every customer like, so there's all this stuff that goes into it. And only people who have a certain type of capacity will I say, hey, you should go do that. And usually you can tell who that is. Like if they're late for a shift or they don't clean up that well. Like we have 4 girls right now who work at our club who they're there nonstop. They don't want to leave. We walk in, the place is spotless. It smells good. They're in charge of inventory and all this stuff. So those 4 are in the process of going and getting their own clubs. There's also people that work out at the club who just aren't ready yet. And the best thing that you can do for yourself and your organization is say you're not ready yet. Because we have some clubs with people who own clubs who aren't the person yet, and they're doing 20 to 30 shakes a day. And they spent $30,000 to build it out. And now they're looking for part-time jobs to help pay for the club. It's just not working. And when I said, I don't think you should open the club yet, they went and did it anyway. So obviously we can't tell anybody what to do. We could just advise them, say, hey, if you're open to it, I would stay here for a little bit longer and then go do this. So it just totally depends on the person, for sure. Really quick for Nicole's question, what's your advice to getting to 100 to 200 consumptions a day? Just because she asked me to be real with you guys, we never handed out a single flyer for our club. We understood that the power of social media is much more powerful than handing out 30,000 flyers on cars or to people or to whoever. So I would say, whatever your strengths are, I can go to any business, to any person. I'm very social. I know how to like handle objections. And so when it comes to passing out flyers, I can do that. Carly is a beast on social media. So she can do 10 times the work I can on social media and get 10 times the return than I could passing out flyers. So one thing that we did was we went super hard on social media, on Instagram especially, following people, engaging with them, using the search locations feature, finding people in the area. We're right by a college, so we were at Grand Valley State University, follow people, play the unfollow, follow game. And handed out half-off cards, tea drops, go business to business, introduce yourself, here's half-off cards. Anytime somebody comes in that's new, we give them half-off cards to give to their friends. So and I can send all that stuff over, but the biggest thing of getting to 100 or 200 consumptions a day is just consistently doing the work. Having the IG story popping all day, making sure that you're the first thing that pops up on the feed. So that's been the thing. But I would say whatever your strengths are, however you invite now, social media is just, it's so easy nowadays, especially when it comes to the club. And I can show you our club page really quick, and you'll see right away that it's not if you went to Lake Michigan Nutrition on Instagram, and I'll share the screen, you would not be able to tell that this has anything to do with Herbalife. Can you guys see this? Okay, so here's the Instagram page. This is another thing with getting to 100 to 200 consumptions a day. So one thing with the page is it's got to show, now sometimes this is an uncomfortable conversation, right? You have to show diversity on the page, meaning this. If I'm an African-American male and I hear about Lake Michigan Nutrition, the first thing I'm going to do is go on IG and look up what Lake Michigan Nutrition is. If I don't see somebody that looks like me, I'm not going. Right? Roles reverse, same thing. I'm not going to feel comfortable going. So the page gets to show diversity in basically what you offer, community, shakes, teas, what your product is. So you'll see diversity, men, women, different colors, kids. So you can't really tell. There's nothing Herbalife here, right? Now, if you're scrolling on Instagram and you're hungry or you want something healthy, and this thing pops up over here with the dog with the red shake, like you're gonna be like, man, like I need that. So does that make sense? Like, I mean, these things it doesn't look like it's healthy for you, but you're gonna want to go get it. So that's kind of what our club page looks like. I could show you other club pages as an example. I'll be telling people I'm showing their club. Or what's that? What's the one in nutrition in there? Okay, so here's one that's kind of biased, not in our organization, but you can tell this is one of our, I want to say competing clubs, but this is one of the clubs that's biased. Now you can see there's a total difference in Instagram. So you can see here, you can tell it's Herbalife. Now we do 250 shakes a day. They do about 20. Not that that's bad. I just think there's some contributing factors. Right. So you can kind of see it's just a little different, right? So that's one of the biggest things is making sure that your social media is always on point, because we just live in that world now where if people want to know what it is, they'll go on Instagram, they'll search it, and what your page has is your storefront. And if they like what they see, they come in. If they don't, or same thing, when they see Herbalife bottle or an Herbalife thing, they're going to Google Herbalife, and it's just not going to be good. So that's what we do to get to 100, 200, and then keeping it that way based on customer experience, relationships, the hello, the goodbye, the cleanliness, the smell, the taste, and then all that good stuff. Okay, anything else? Let it rip.
Hey, Mike, it's Alex.
What's up, buddy?
Thank you for doing the call, first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
What is your take on, or any advice you can give for like a home-based nutrition club? So we have me, Amanda, and Elias on the call. We are currently doing a home-based satellite one. What's your advice for us to grow the business out of a home first, before we actually get into a storefront?
So you have people coming into the house?
Yeah.
Okay. So same thing. It's actually, it's interesting. I just had this conversation last week with somebody, and they were like, man, like you can do a club out of your house. And I was like, yeah, for sure. It just comes down to the same thing. The location is the storefront versus house doesn't really matter. Like, it just comes down to customer experience, quality of photo, meaning if you don't have, like, you could get a whiteboard, hold the whiteboard up with the shape, pretending it's a white wall. You could make it look bright. You could make it look whatever, but it's really no different. I mean, the only thing different is if people are coming through a business door or the door of your house. So I would just say to do the same thing, follow people in the area, promote what you do, have a quality social media page, and just remember that people are going to want to come in because of you, not necessarily just the shake and tea. So it's like, what value do you add? Regardless of where people are coming, they want you to say their name when they come in. They want you to say their name when they leave. And they want to tell you about their life. And that's it. You could really do it anywhere.
Hey, Michael.
Hey, buddy.
Thank you for doing this, because this is pretty cool what you're doing. So thank you very
man.
much. So I have a question. Kind of wrote it down. So like in restaurants sometimes, or like cafes, because I've been to school for this and I kind of like learned like basically the steps of opening a restaurant or a cafe. This is a lot different, however, but usually when you do open up something, there's kind of a time where it goes like you get a lot of people when you first grand open, and then it starts to slow down a bit. What have you done to like keep the momentum up, basically?
So I really think it honestly depends. So when the way we're working social media now, I'm certain that if we would have been working like this when we first opened, I don't think it would have died down. So here's what our numbers look like. We really didn't work social media that hard. And we had like a soft opening a week before our grand opening. We were doing like 20, 30, 40 shakes a day. Grand opening, we did 200. Then it went back down to 40, and then we built it up ever since. Okay. 2 of the clubs that we've duplicated out of that worked social media like we're working it now. They had a couple hundred people at their grand opening, and they've been over 100 shakes a day ever since they've opened. So they really haven't had that dip. So I think it just comes down to like, what's your promotions, or how are you promoting it on social media? Once again, the customer experience, location as far as like how many people are in the city. I mean, we're in a city where there's 4 miles to our west is one of the biggest cities in Michigan, and 4 miles to our east, or 4 miles to our east is the city, 4 miles west is the university that has 30,000 students. So we're in a heavy populated area, so there's really more to choose from and more people to get in the door. But that's what I would say. I mean, I definitely see what you're saying, but I think if you do it right, and I think if you could do 200 on your grand opening and do 200 every single day, then I would have you be doing a call for our group just to figure out how we can do that. But I think you're naturally going to have that dip. How big of a dip that is totally up to you based on how much you're promoting it. Because like I said, we've had 200 to 20 or 30. Our newest clubs have done 200 on grand opening, and they've been over 100 shakes a day ever since. So 100 shakes a day is about 20,000 volume points in your organization. So you could literally add, for every club doing 100, this is what excited me. For every club that's doing 100, and here's the thing, think about when you're looking for a location or you have your house, how many cars drive by every single day? For us, we do 220 to 250 a day. We have 30 to 40,000 cars drive by every single day. So if you look at where we're at compared to how much the traffic, we're not even making a dent in how many we could be doing. However, so that's what I'm saying, 100 shakes a day is really not that difficult if you do it the right way, based on how many cars are driving by. And it's literally 20,000 volume points. So wherever you're at now, take your org volume, at a club that's doing 100 shakes a day, and there's 20,000. Then another 20,000, then another 20,000, and that's all we've done, right? To where we have a goal this year, or by the end of 2019, to have 10 frontline clubs doing 100 shakes a day. We currently have 6. So it's been awesome. So what else you guys have?
Question about the system that you guys use. So I have seen the Ryan Baker training. Are you guys using that to the T? Did you guys add any modifications to it? If so, what have you guys,
we have we have the Ryan Baker model on steroids. So what I mean by that is, and I love Ryan, but if you look at Ryan's clubs, they are Herbalife, they are green, they are purple, they're pink, they're yellow. Not that that's bad. I got to be careful how I say this. So here's just, I don't know Ryan's business that well, and I love Ryan. I'll see him next month. So Ryan's 20K, senior executive. He has over 100 clubs in his organization. Okay. So our sponsor, JJ Mikowski, is in second cut. I think it's already done. Don't announce it, but second cut of 20K executive president's team, and he has like 27 clubs in his organization. The only difference is this: when you walk in the clubs in Jay's organization, they're cafes, coffee shops, top hits. They're bright, they're white, they have nice lights, they have plants. It's Starbucks. So from what I've heard is a lot of Ryan's clubs are doing, 50 to 60 shakes a day, where I can show you, let me show you this really quick. This is some inspiration for you guys. Most of Jay's clubs do between 100 and 200 shakes a day. Okay, so can you see Telegram here? Okay, so here's Jay. We have a club chat. So here's one right here, 141 shakes. If you look at, here's ours, like Michigan Nutrition. Total sales in February. We brought in $50,137, 6,079 consumptions, almost 37,000 volume points. Here's another one in Carly and I's organization, 129, 66. We submit our numbers every day in the chat for accountability: 87, 111, 66, 132, 100. 187, 110, 187. There's 136 that I was talking about. Doesn't want to listen. 112, 100, 64. So there's so much, like there's a big difference, right? There's a big difference in having 100 shakes that do 50 versus 25 that do 200. And we're just convinced that that's based on how it looks, how it feels, the music, the vibe, the people, and all that. We definitely do the operator model in most of our clubs, meaning it's all distributors working the bar. They contribute their own products. They contribute tea and aloe. And then we have a couple clubs that are owner model where the owner orders all the products. She pays people, I think hourly, to work the bar using her products, or has distributors who work with her products, but she takes all the money and the volume. But most of it is operator model with distributors ordering their own products and all that good stuff. And then I can show you what the contribution looks like if you want. So there's two different ways to do it. We started by doing, they contribute a half gallon of aloe, the operator, half gallon of aloe, and 6 large teas. Now we've switched to, and you can kind of get a feel. I would start with the 1 and the 6, or whatever you guys feel is right. Maybe it's money as well. We just switched to each operator contributes tea and aloe based on the amount of consumptions they do per month. So what we were finding is that the girl who was contributing 6 teas and a large aloe, who got 5 shifts a week, was contributing the same amount as the girl who got 1 shift a week based on availability, and it just wasn't making sense. So now, this might seem kind of steep, but when you're doing 250 shakes a day, it works. So Taylor is a girl who's frontline to Carly and I. She's 3rd month in the business. She's gonna do 10K this month, works at the club, also works outside of the club and builds her business. She's gonna contribute 45 teas and a half gallon of aloe because she has almost 1,000 plus consumptions for the month at the club, because she's there 7 days a week. So that's what we do. So you contribute based on how much you work. Now, she also got up in front of the nutrition club workshop and said, last month working the club, I was able to profit an extra $4,000. So if you're contributing $700 in tea and aloe to make $4,000, it's kind of like it's a no-brainer. Now, $4,000 profit was after the reorder. So she actually brought in probably 8 something thousand. After reorder, she'd take half, 4,000, you contribute your $700 in products, and you're good to go. So that's what it looks like. But yes, so we do the baker model, just switched it based on what they contribute and then on the look and the feel and the vibes. And look, whatever your community you're in, Herbalife might be the dopest thing that anybody's ever seen. So if green walls and Herbalife all over is what works for you and you're killing it, don't change it. We just have a lot of people here in the Midwest who are overweight and they know everything, right? Like, listen, people in the Midwest, they know it all. Like they have it all figured out, and if they don't, they'll Google it and they'll figure it out. And it was just one of those things where we just found so many people were Googling Herbalife, and then they would stop coming in because somebody, I don't know, you know, the stuff that people say, they didn't take the products right, they gained 1,000 pounds, and you know, that's how it goes. Okay, anything else? Hey, you can keep going if you want.
I will. I keep like pausing to see. No, nobody got it. Okay, so this is so you guys mentioned like doing things like half off. You would go in and offer half off to clubs that were nearby. Now, what does that like actually look like when the person comes in? Like, say that you gave a half off card and it says Michael on it, and then comes in and Michael's not behind the bar. What is that actually like? What's the like protocol in that?
Yeah. So they make, so every operator, our basic combo is $9, shake to yellow. Our combo with liftoff is $12. And we have a mega tea combo with liftoff, which is $15. The operators pay the club. So here's the standard contribution as well. The operators pay the club $3 on a basic combo. And then if there's an extra tea, it's an extra $2 and so on. So they pay basically $3. Our base combo is our best seller. So on a $9 combo, they're paying the club $3. So when somebody comes in with a half off card, we just do $4 half off cards because it's $4.50. We didn't want to have to deal with change or anything like that. So our half off card is $4. They make it right out of their product. And essentially they're going to pay the club $1 and they're taking the $3 and they're just using it for their reorder. So they're not profiting, but they're not losing money either. And they're getting the volume for it. When they take the half off card, staple it to the slip, put it by Carly and I stuff, then we do the follow up and so on.
Is there a monthly, along with your contribution or rent? And what amount do you do? No rent?
No. There's clubs in our organization that do. You guys might throw up when I tell you this. Carly and I's club, the rent is $660 a month. So that's why we don't really have that rent in place.
That doesn't exist in California.
Yeah. So we do have clubs that are, 1,700 or 2,000. And as we expand into other states, we got a couple in Florida that are looking in their spots like 35 to 4,000. So it makes things a little different. But here's the thing. How you solve the rent issue and the price being so high is to just do 200 shakes a day. If you do 100 to 200 shakes a day, you're not have to worry about anything. Now, if you're doing 50 shakes a day and your rent is 4,000, then I'm like, man, like that's, you just have to figure out, like, can I bet on myself to go make this thing work? And if you can't, then I would just say maybe wait until you can. Because what Carly and I said was, look, if our organization doesn't want to listen to us, we're going to go out and do this thing. And I don't care what it takes. I'll bet on us to make it work. There's no plan B. There's no getting out of the lease. We're in it. We're going to crush it. And that's just that. And if I didn't feel like that and Carly didn't feel like that, then we would have been like, let's wait and let's not open it. So wherever you're at. But you could take a club that's $4,000 a month and you could crush it and be totally fine if you want to. Like I said, 100 shakes a day when you have thousands and thousands of people driving by is really not that many shakes a day.
So speaking of rent, do you have any suggestions to negotiate, or if you were to negotiate, what were some of your tips or something that you have come by?
Yeah. So I would go into the conversation with 8 other locations, meaning you found 8 other vacant spots that you could go to. You might not want to go there. So this is what I started to do is I would call places, and I just had this conversation yesterday with a lady at a new spot. So she wants to charge us in this plaza. There's 5 vacant spots. Little intimidating because why is there 5 vacant spots if this is such a hot area? And she tells me the least that I can do is $1,750 for this spot. And I said, okay, no problem. We have 8 other locations that we're looking at. One here, one here, one here, one here. You're probably on the higher end of rent. So unless you can come down a little bit, we're just going to choose one of those other locations. And usually they'll say, okay, yeah, we can work something out. They wanna rent it out. You know, they're gonna get an extra $1,000 to $2,000 to $3,000 a month by leasing the space. So if you go into it and say, yeah, this is it, like we'll pay this, it's kind of like you're almost giving them what they want. The any space that you find is not worth the money that they want to charge you for rent, based on how much they're paying in their mortgage or the whatever they have to pay, the loan for buying the building. It's usually double. Like my good friend owns duplexes, rents them out. He'll live in one side and rent the other side out, and he charges the person double to cover his mortgage. So these companies do the exact same thing. They charge you double the rent. They want to charge you double what they need to make it work. So we just go in and play hardball and say, hey, look, we got this other spot. Here's what we're willing to pay you. This is what works for us. Just let me know. If not, then we're just going to go to one of these other spots, and that's it. And usually they'll give you a call and they'll say, okay, hey, look, let's talk.
How was the process in creating the business plan? Did you use like the Herbalife one that was on the website on myherbalife.com, or what did you use?
Yeah. And honestly, you're kind of just, I can send Nicole ours. It's almost like a projections game. I mean, when we first did ours, I need to do a newer one, because when we first opened, it was kind of like, oh yeah, we hope to do this and we hope to do that. But yeah, that was really it. You might run across like some people who want the business plan, like some landlords or whoever. I have breakdowns of like our clubs in some locations, and here's what we do, here's how much we profit. This profit is split amongst 8 people and so on. But yeah, we use the one on my Herbalife, and it's kind of just like you have to fit it into the location and how many shakes a day you need to do to break even and all that good stuff. And some people may not require it. Obviously, Herbalife requires us to have one, but well, the FTC does, not Herbalife.
Oh, so along with that, so in the process right now, because we have a space we're actually working on a lease with right now, and what I'm finding in working with the city is there are a ton of things, from like getting your contractor to your plumbing and permits and this and that, and architectural engineers and all this stuff that my city is requiring. Have you guys found any like tips, or like do you have any like tips or tricks or like online tools, or just something you have found to like alleviate like the financial weight of that process? Or just
you just got to do it. Now the good thing is I would shop around. Where are you located at?
Monterey, basically Monterey, California, Central.
So
California.
I know a guy named Dave Lakin, who's a contractor who can build some stuff. So really it's that. It's literally shopping around for contractors, plumbers, electricians, and then finding one. This is what we did. Carly and I had to be the guinea pigs. We had to go we got tossed around at the city, we got tossed around with architects, and then we found an electrician, we found a plumber, we found a contractor, and we found an architect who has done everything for all of our clubs, duplicating moving forward. So I have this dude, he's a couple $1,000s less than larger. It's easier to get a single, so if you can get somebody who, it's not a company, it's an independent contractor, you're going to save yourself money, because a company will contract it out to a crew and they got to pay 3 or 4 people to do it, versus having one person go in and do it. And they're always going to quote, the little man is always going to quote cheaper than the large company. So we found a plumber who was $2,000 cheaper than everybody else. and he's done 5 of our clubs moving forward. It's literally 2,500 to 3,000. He knows what he's doing. He understands Herbalife. Here's what we need. We need this sink. We need this drain. We need this. He just goes in and does it in a weekend, and it's done. Same thing with the electrician. And here's what you can do. You can check with the city. Here's one thing that we found. If it doesn't change the square footage of the space and it's not anchored to the ground, it does not require a building permit. So one thing that we did is we built our bar ourselves. Bought the material, built the bar ourselves. I didn't. Our business partner and somebody else did. But that saved us a couple $1,000s right there. So if it's movable, even if the bar weighs 5,000 pounds, if it's movable, meaning it's not anchored to the ground, screwed in, it shouldn't require a building permit. If you build a closet, which kind of changes meaning this, if you run a space out that's a white box and you change the layout of it, meaning you put a closet in, you put a bathroom in, you put something else in, that will require a building permit. Because you're basically you're changing the existing space into a new one. When you have a bar that is just kind of free floating that weighs 5,000 pounds, when you leave, you can take it with you. Or leave it, or the landlord can do what he wishes with it. So I would just check with the city, but that'll save you some money there. And then architectural drawings, unfortunately, it's just kind of what we have to do. We found a guy he did it for $500, but another guy was like $1,500. Just one of those things. I can tell you this though. Our build out was $20,000. So our build out was $20,000. The club in February brought in $50,000. So it's this thing, guys, has been literally the easiest when it comes to like earning a profit and increasing royalties. Like this thing has been nothing like I've ever seen in Herbalife. Especially this cafe model. So you guys know Jerry Graham. So Jerry comes into our club and he's like, dude, this is insane. I've never seen anything like this. Now he went to Chicago, opened one up with Jay and Mira, and they're crushing it. And he's like, dude, this is like, I've seen a lot of things in Herbalife. I've seen nutrition clubs, fit club, all this stuff. This is literally the next thing. So, like I said, it's just been one of those things where, yes, it's stressful. Yes, opening up is stressful. Just do what you got to do to get it open, and then just do you. Create the customer experience. Be the person. The rest takes care of itself. Add 20,000 per club to your org, and quadruple your income year on year, and so on. But anything else you guys have? I don't have anywhere to be, so we can talk all night if you want.
Question. So if you were to go back in time and like could have went back and basically wish you could have known something before you did it or before you even went through the process, what is one thing you wish you could have told yourself?
Oh, that's a good one. Definitely working with social media. So here's one thing that we didn't do that our clubs do now. The day that they sign the lease is the day that they start their Instagram and is the day they start posting and following. Coming soon, positive vibes, healthy shakes, healthy teas. That was the one thing that I think hurt us in the beginning because we didn't do that. There were so many like unknowns. And then have a grand opening date set. I think as you start to build out and as you get permits handled, start and launch a grand opening. One thing we did is we set a grand opening date that we were not going to make So we had to change the grand opening date. So I would definitely say that as well. So start your social media the day you open the club, and then really show people the process of like what it looks like. Here's what it is, and they can start to see the build out of it. And even, you know, be on the story all the time when you're there. Like, plumbers are here, electricians here, bars finished, countertops are on. Can't wait to meet you guys. The same thing we do on Instagram now, but just doing it for the club. On average, how many months is it from lease signing to grand opening? Roughly 3 to 4. Sometimes sooner, depending on how fast you can get the build out done. Another thing that I wish I would have done is look for a spot that already had plumbing. Maybe like an old salon, barbershop. We have like a lot of frozen yogurt shops here that go out of business. So finding something like that, something that already had like lines ran, all we had to do is put a drain in, but do minimal work. So our plumbing was like 3,000 to 4,000 plus a water heater. So that was our biggest expense for sure. So if you can kind of shop around for locations and say, hey, what does this already have? Like, our spot didn't even have, it literally had one outlet in the place. So we had to go in and put, you know, a couple $1,000s of electrical work into it. Had to get all new flooring. So you could look at a spot, flooring was 2,000. So you could say, can I make this flooring work? So you can kind of like shop around and see what makes sense for sure. So that'd be the thing. Social media being the biggest one. Because at the end of the day, like, it was still only 20,000 to build that, which when it comes to building a business or starting your own business, usually people are 100, like, for example, the CrossFit gym that Carly and I go to, they put $111,000 into this CrossFit gym. Now, it's sweet for us to go in and work out at, but I think they kind of bit off more than they can chew with this, having it be that extravagant, you know, this fast. So with Herbalife and the club, is if we put in $20,000, we get to pay that back in a hurry because it's so minimal compared to opening up a business and doing something different. You guys have tropical smoothies out there? So we have, it's like a smoothie place. You guys probably have something similar to it, but a tropical smoothie here, and they serve like healthy wraps, salads, but their shakes are fruit in them, high sugar content, all that stuff. It's $400,000 to open one. We're literally half a mile from the tropical smoothie, and the lady who owns the tropical smoothie comes in and gets shakes and teas. You know, so it's kind of like 20,000, 30,000 compared to 400. And as a GM or an owner of a tropical smoothie, your average salary is 60,000. So 60,000 a year to live on plus pay back 400,000. I wouldn't want to be in that position. That's the other thing too. So with opening, making sure that whoever you have that wants to go open a nutrition club, making sure that they are definitely the person that can handle acquiring the debt. Because this is what happens. When you have somebody who, like, we have 17-year-old kids that want to go open nutrition clubs, that they're trying to get somebody to co-sign on a loan, mom or dad. And I'm like, guys, listen, just work out of here first, save up some money, then go that route. So here's what happens. When you have somebody who shouldn't go open a nutrition club, at least this is for Carly and I. You guys have to look at it like you're the Mark Hughes of your organization. And I'm sure you guys have got this. Like, you know, people who they think you are the CEO of Herbalife. Like, they don't know anything else Herbalife besides you, and you like started the company, you're the CEO, and when they think of Herbalife, they think of you. So we had a couple clubs here one in particular, that they opened up, they didn't do the deal, and they had to close. They acquired a bunch of debt, and Carly and I got phone calls and messages like, hey, like, what happened to that spot that you guys own, that Herbalife shop? It closed down. Like, Herbalife must not be that great, and your business must not be successful. Are you guys doing okay? And I'm like, well, I didn't own that. I don't have that debt. It's just one, you know, so, but people will associate a club closing as a negative thing. And they think, oh my gosh, Herbalife it can't work. This club couldn't make it. And you'll have to deal with that. So it could potentially hurt your business if somebody goes and opens a club and they're just not the right person. Alex says, how does that undocumented volume of shakes carry over into the next month? Your retail inventory balance carries over. So although if it's the 31st, or if it's the 1st, we can't document shakes from the 31st, but any undocumented volume will carry over as retail inventory balance. So here's an example. We just had a kid who opened a club. He placed a 7,000 volume point order on like the 25th of last month. He documented probably 100 of it. So he had 6,900 undocumented volume that he finished the month with. Now he started over at 0 in March, and his retail inventory balance on the My Volume page in BizWorks shows 6,800 and something. So he has that much inventory balance that he can document before he has to reorder. Does that make sense? Yeah. So it'll hurt you initially if you order because you'll have undocumented volume for that month, but it doesn't go away. It just goes into the inventory balance bank.
Speaking of inventory, so for a club typically starting off, is what's like the normal or like the product, like the products that you have someone ordering to get started? And I guess I can figure out what the amount is if you tell me what the products are. But yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it depends on the person. Here's what we like to do. We like to have somebody come in if they don't have the money. So there's two scenarios. If they don't have the money to order their products, we have them come in, they work with us, and then we basically pay them $2 or $3 per shake that they make, and we put that money in an envelope to save up for this. So they're almost like working for free, or they take $1, you put $2 in the envelope, but they're saving up to then order their products. If they have the money, then it's different. But what we have them order is just a basic set. So the first couple of weeks when you're an operator on the bar is kind of iffy because you don't really know how much inventory you need to keep, what you go through the most of. Like, we've ordered one pina colada in a year. It's not popular. Orange cream, we've ordered one. The most things that we go through are vanilla PDM, chocolate PDM, cookies and cream, chocolate, vanilla, banana caramel, mint chocolate, cafe latte, and really those are the most. So we keep the most stock there. So for somebody starting out, we'll have them order like 2 of each PDM, 2 chocolate, 2 vanilla, 2 cookies, and then 1 of everything else. 1 of each lift off. And then they can start to, as they start making more money on the bar, they can then expand and create an inventory. They might not need Prolessa right away. They might not need probiotic or fiber. Those are things that they could get down the road.
And for people that don't purchase that inventory and then say someone comes in and they order Prolessa, do they just take it from somebody else's?
They pass the consumption to whoever has it. Yep. And if the 2 people working, we usually have 2 to 3 people per shift. If they don't have it, then they can make it out of Carly and I's or somebody who does. but they have to make the shake out of our stuff too. If it's a lift off, that the whole consumption goes to us. We have our cash bag there. They pay with, or they put the money in our stuff, give us the slip, and so on. So it pays to have all the stuff, but for some people, the difference of getting $600 versus $1,000 is the make or break. So if they can work a couple days to, you know, increase their money to get more stuff, then we found that works better. Or you could say, hey, look, it's going to cost $1,000. You need to invest, or you get to invest $1,000 into your business to work here. Now you can go get 10 clients. You can do it, whatever. You can get the money. And here's what we're going to do. You're going to invest $1,000. You're going to get all your products. Here's something that our girls like. We have all girls that work the bar, by the way. Not that I have anything against guys. It's just mostly girls want to work. That's why I'll say our girls. But they do about 50 shakes each per shift. So 50 times 6, or 50 times 3. So they're basically taking home 150 to 175 profit per shift that they work. So if you break that down into your $1,000 investment, it's kind of a no-brainer. But if somebody can't, then it's work with me. We can put money in the envelope or get the bare minimum. Just know you have to pass the consumption if you don't have it. But usually they're pretty safe with getting the essentials for a lot cheaper.
Any other questions, team? Keep them coming.
One quick question. How was the hiring process? Was it like when you hired people, did you just hire people from your team to work in the nutrition club, or did you actually outsource other people that wasn't part of Herbalife?
Both. I would just say that the people that at work, people outside of Herbalife, they treat it like it's a job. So they're not necessarily, like I said, they don't know Herbalife. They're not, I don't want to say they're not one of us, but like we're different people. Like you guys, we just are. So you can tell the difference. Now here's the thing. I was telling Samson and Nicole this the other night. There's definitely power. If you want to go front line, there's definitely power in doing this. So if we bring people in who aren't a part of Herbalife already, we pay them $2 per shake that they make. So their profit is $2 a shake. That leaves us with the rest for reorder and $1 profit for ourselves. And this is what's happened is when you pay people $2 a shake versus $10 an hour, or $12 an hour, $15 an hour, here's the difference. At $15 an hour, if the club does 20 shakes, they don't care. They're getting paid $15 an hour to be there. If the club does 20 shakes and they're making $2 a shake, they're going to basically leave with like $10. Now they care. So the reason why we do the $2 a shake is now there's an added incentive for them to bring their friends and invite and help get the club busier so that they can make more money. And once we started doing that, we immediately saw a shift in, okay, hey, they're on their Instagram. Hey, I'm working at Lake Michigan Nutrition today. Come see me, all this stuff, because they're going to make more money when their friends come in. The other cool thing is if Nicole and I are working and she's making $2 a shake and I'm an operator with my own products making $6 a shake combo, she's going to be like, yo, what the hell? Like, how can I make 6? Why am I only making 2 and you're making 6? And now she has an interest in becoming a distributor. After she's been in the club, making money, guess what? She's on her shift. She's drinking tea. She's feeling the energy. She's around other Herbalife people. She's seeing people coming in and out of the door. So she's getting herbalized. She's starting to hear about events. And now she's like, oh, well, I'll be a distributor. And now that girl is her third month as a supervisor going to do 10,000 volume points this month. So there's power there. Just understand that it's a little bit longer of a period to get them to understand that it's, yes, it's a job, but most importantly, this is how you get to behave. And usually when you bring somebody in who wants to, you know, they just want a job, they don't want to do Herbalife, they call in sick, they're late for their shift or they can't come in. So then you start the boss stuff of like, hey, you're fired, you can't work here anymore. It's just easier to start with people who are already in Herbalife. But if you're brand new and you're opening a club by yourself or with just a couple of people, you're going to have to hire people. Just pay them the $2 a shake. Eventually, listen, if you're seeing, this is why the events are so cool. It allows us to see people. My first extravaganza, I saw somebody go across stage in overalls and a t-shirt, and he was a farmer. And he was like Mill 7.5 or Prez, and he was making $20,000 a month. And I'm like, shit, man, if this dude can make $20,000 a month in those overalls and white t-shirt, I'm good. Like, I'm straight. I'm gonna make it. So the club does the exact same thing for these people who don't understand Herbalife yet. They kind of take the slow steps in, see if it's for them. They're making money immediately, and we've just had them more likely. There's a greater chance of them becoming a distributor than not. But we do an interview process. Why do you think you're a good fit? Tell me about yourself. We've had people bring resumes. So it's all of that. And here's what we do is like, you can tell, like, the power that we have in Herbalife is that we work with so many different people that we can tell personalities. And you can tell who's going to be a good fit and who's not. So when you're sitting down with like a group of people, the person who talks too much is not a good fit, and the person who doesn't talk at all is not a good fit. Or the one that just talks about themselves the whole time. Now, so you'll get a feel for like, okay, that one right there is a good fit. You're going to hire her, bring her in or him in, $2 a shake. So you're almost like interviewing your potential future distributors.
How you feeling, team? Any other thoughts? Amanda, any thoughts? Araceli, did you guys have anything?
And here's the cool thing too is I think this is the thing of the future with Herbalife. With the different style, meaning the whites, the woods, it doesn't have to be whites and woods, I'm just saying that, but like I have a Pinterest board of like Nutrition Club goals, like black walls, wood, soft lighting, bar feel, make it your personality. Like I definitely think this is a thing. And like I said, when they open the call, it's like Carly and I, like we literally have it mapped out to go to 50K. Here's how many clubs, and I think it's going to happen in the next 2 years. This is how many clubs it's going to take, and it's literally 20,000 volume points per club. So it's easier for you to map it out. It's kind of like mapping out active supervisors, right? Like this 10 frontline active soups gives us Prez. 5 gives us Mill. 3 frontline active soups for Get Team. So now you can start to do that with clubs and say, hey, look, what city are we going to go in? Who do we have that can go there? It's 20,000 volume points per. If we do this many this year, and then this many this year, and then this many this year, 3 years from now will be 50K. And that's just Nutrition Club volume. Here's the really cool thing. That's 20,000 volume points in daily consumption. Then you add in, hey, I would like to do the products at home. Hey, I would like to be a distributor. So it literally becomes more than that. So it's 20,000 in just daily consumption. And that's what excites me. So then it ends up becoming like, I don't know, 30 to 40,000. You saw the number with our club. So add 30,000 volume points per club. And even if you have a club that's doing 50 shakes a day, right? That's 10,000 volume points. So what could an additional 10,000 documented volume do for your check? I'll take the extra 500 bucks, you know? So even if they do 50, now think about how many cars drive by and doing 50 shakes a day. That's even easier to do. That's like the bare minimum that you would do. But I've never seen anything like this in the last 7 years. And from what I'm hearing from people who have been doing other stuff is like, wow, like this is the thing. For sure. So if you guys have anything, go ahead.
Yeah, I just have one last question, I think.
You have 10 questions.
Okay. So I was looking at, excuse me, your recipe list, right?
Yep.
And so it's kind of a two-sided question. I saw that you guys add like pudding and stuff to your shakes. One, can I know why you do that? And two, what brand you use? And my second question is, did you guys have to do something different when it came to health department from going from just doing like the powder, water, and ice to adding in like toppings and pudding and stuff, or it's all the same?
All the same.
Okay.
All the same for that. And the health department is very simple. It's more of, they want to know powder and water is super easy to get approved and it's hard to mess up. And all they require is a 3-compartment sink, properly labeled, hand wash signs, proper ceiling tiles, like food grade ceiling tiles over the bar, sanitary stuff, sign on the restroom, automatic closed door, like just the basic stuff like that. For puddings, if I served you a shake, a chocolate Oreo cheesecake shake, and then I served you a chocolate PDM and Dutch chocolate Formula 1 shake, you would want my shake over your shake every day. The difference in taste is just like amazing. Not that the Herbalife shakes by themselves don't taste good, but think about people who, so I try to think about people outside of the club. Like, what are they going to think? What are they going to want to? Here's the truth, is people want it to taste unhealthy. Because there's people that will drink an Herbalife shake and be like, oh, this tastes chalky, or really it doesn't. But because it's something new for them, they think it tastes chalky or whatever. If you put chocolate pudding in it and some Oreos on top, now all of a sudden it tastes like it's literally ice cream. Something that they're used to eating every day. So the goal is, how can we get them switching out chocolate ice cream for this, because it tastes very similar. And then the other thing is, with the toppings and stuff, aesthetically, it's pleasing to the eye. Because when they post about it on social media, it's like, oh my gosh, like when you see that chocolate shake with, Oreos on top, you can't say no to it. So that's why. The company is Abundant Life. And the syrups are Torani, all sugar-free. Some of the Oreos, the graham crackers is nuts.com. The straws are Lollicup Store. I think what else? The sweet tea mixes are also Abundant Life. And I can give you a little secret on moving forward, what we're going to do. So we are going to do in clubs moving forward a smaller menu. We have what is our menu? 100 shakes? There's like 100 shakes on the menu. So we might do like 20 to 30 shakes of like chocolate cheesecake, brownie batter, blueberry cheesecake, sugar cookie. Then use the select and kind of have like a vegetarian menu. And figure out like, can we get dairy-free toppings, puddings, stuff like that. So have that menu as well. Even if it's like 10 shakes, here's our dairy or our vegetarian options. Once again, it just is wherever you live and what the marketplace needs or wants. Here in the Midwest, man, they're just now putting a Chick-fil-A in my hometown after 30 years. It's McDonald's, Burger King, and mom and pop shops. We got an IHOP last year. That's it. Subway's the greatest thing in the world for most people here. So when they can get this, like this is literally the coolest thing. So you just got to look at what the marketplace wants. Are there other things like this? How can we make it better and kind of play that little game? Because at the end of the day, yes, it's an Herbalife nutrition club, but it's also a business. So although I love everybody, the club that's outside of your organization or outside of Nicole's organization can't do, if it's in the same area, it can't be doing more shakes than you. Just can't do it. Like that's the game that you get to play. Like if I'm going to do a club out of my house, like, damn, I'm going to have 200 people come in a day through this joint. Or Tropical Smoothie down the road from us, like we're going to put them out of business. Nothing personal. Love the lady who owns it. However, I'm not personally putting her out of business. The value that we have at the club and the product that we have, the people, the community, environment, the taste, the look, the smell, the feel, that's what's going to put her out of business. So when somebody thinks, oh my gosh, I'm hungry, a shake would taste great, they have to think of you. They have to. And social media helps that with Instagram and a story. But man, listen, when somebody comes in and you say, hey, Alex, how are you, man? Like he feels like, dude, his head's like this big, right? I'm like, and I remember what he did yesterday. If he went to a baseball game yesterday with the kids, hey, bro, how was the game last night? Or we had a girl that came in who had car trouble, and I remember that she had car trouble. I was like, did you ever get everything figured out with your car? She's like, how do you remember that? Dude, she's been in every day since. And when Alex leaves, hey, Alex, have a good day, man. We'll see you tomorrow. Like that just makes them feel a certain type of way. So when it comes to your club, here's the biggest thing. Everything matters. The look, the smell, the taste, the vibes, the communication, the hi, the bye, getting to know people's names. Like if I say, hey girl, how are you? It's okay. Hey girl, have a good day. It's okay. But when I say your name and you hear your name come out of my mouth, you're like, wow, like I feel good when I come in here. And that's what they come back for. Like I'm not gonna, here's an honest thing. We have 2 ladies that come into our club. We have 2 ladies that come into our club, right? They haven't showered in years. And when they come into the club, everybody knows their name. And the whole club smells. It smells. Like you can smell them. However, they freaking feel like they're home. So although I don't appreciate like the smell, like it just makes the whole club smell. These two ladies, man, like they walk in there and everyone's like, hey, yeah, hey ladies, how are you? They just light up. So that's an example. And they come back every single day. And they literally scavenge up enough money, quarters, pennies, to pay their $9 every single day. They don't come in for the shake and the tea because sometimes it's like half gone, right? They come in there because they're not judged and they feel good and they say their name and, you know, and that's what it's about. And that's why we do 200 plus shakes a day. Location is awesome. Product is amazing, like we know. But there's other nutrition clubs in the country serving the same product. But what's the difference? You get to be the difference. Regardless of what it looks like. You want to do green walls and Herbalife all over, then that's cool if it works for you. But you get to be that difference maker when it comes to everything else. Like our crew gets pissed at me all the time. I'm like, yo, vacuum the rug. They're like, we vacuumed it. I'm like, no, listen, vacuum it again. Well, why? That's the first thing that people see when they walk in. Dirty rug, dirty shakes, dirty teas, dirty bathroom, dirty floors, dirty personalities. Like that's what they think about. So you get to kind of be a little OCD and say, like if the, like Alex, for you, man, like if you're having the club at the house just gets to be spotless. Gets to smell good, gets to be like that next level thing. And that's the difference. And the clubs in our organization who aren't like that, they'll do 30 shakes a day and they'll have to get another job to help pay the bills. So
a question, do you guys use the POS system like for like checkouts and stuff? Or how do you guys handle when someone comes in, they want to pay with a credit partner with a credit card?
We use Square. Square. Yep. The POS is good. It's just kind of, it's slow at times. Or Square never, I mean, they'll take a percentage, but it's very small now. So we use Square, then we go into the POS and document all the slips. And then Square also has, has the tip option, like making sure if you're using Square, go on, turn the tip option on. We get about $200 a day in tips. So $200, that's $6,000 a month, and just tips, $3,000 to $6,000 usually.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
All right,
Take it away.
What's like the recommended range you would say that you would probably propose to someone that wants to open up a nutrition club in square feet? Because right now I'm kind of looking at something that's 640 to 1,000, but what do you think is like the recommended square footage?
That 800 to 1,000. 800 to 1,000. Here's why. We have a club that's 2,500 square feet. You put 100 people in there, it still feels big. You put ours is 960 square feet. You put 100 people in there, and it's the place to be. It's like popping. Over capacity. So I just think it's homey. The energy is trapped. When you have too big of space, the energy just gets spread out. It's, it echoes. So I would say, 800 to even 1,200 is fine. 8 to 1,200-ish. Then again, it just depends on your budget and price and all that. 640 might be too small, especially if you want to do a high shake count. During one of our customer appreciation days, I can tell you about that too, which has been a game changer for us. We've had probably 100 plus people in the club at one time, and it was literally like you couldn't move. So if it would have been any smaller, people would have been like, I'm out of here. I'm not going to hang out. It was perfect. Customer appreciation days. Here's what we do. As long as you don't share it. I just owe Nicole the world, so I'm going to give it to you. We do $3 off all combos. So $6, $9, and $12. Here's why. People who might be on the fence about coming in because it's $9, I can go to a place and get a meal for $9, like real food, according to what people say, something I can chew on. So that's how people think. Like they think for $9, I can go get a full meal. Like I can go to McDonald's and I can get 6 McChickens or something like that, you know? So the reason they feel like that is because they never tasted the product. They've never been in the club. They never felt the energy. They never had their name said. They haven't been in our community. So they're hesitant on coming in. For $6, their coworker convinced them to come in with them. So now they come in for $6 because it's cheaper, and then they taste it, they feel the energy, and I'm like, damn, like this is legit. I would pay $9 for this. So we've found, here's why we continue to do them. We have found that every customer appreciation day that we've had, the average daily consumptions go up by like 10 to 15 after every single one, and they stay there. So when we were doing 50 shakes a day, we did our first customer appreciation day. We had like a couple hundred people, 300 people come in. We went up to like 65 shakes a day. Next one, we had 400 plus. We went up to like 85 to 90 shakes a day. Then we went to 607 on our customer appreciation day. We went up to like 115, 120. We then did 723, and every day this week we've been over 200. All it is just getting first time. It's not the number, right? It's not so we can say, oh my gosh, we did 723 shakes. That's cool, but it's not as cool as increasing your consumption long term. Like what's going to work long term is more important than the number that we do that day. So if you can increase your numbers by 15 to 20 after every month, then eventually you could get to 200, 300 a day and have it stay there. And that $6 price just gets more first timers in the door so that they can experience it, and then they start to tell their friends, and it just spreads from there. So a couple ways to promote it. I don't recommend doing this, and it's against company policy, but we used to promote on Instagram $3 off, but we don't do that anymore. So what we do is when we're on the bar, we'll say, hey, customer appreciation day this Friday, we're doing $3 off all combos. We're able to tell somebody face to face instead of, we can't put discounts on social media. Found that out the hard way. And so we just tell them when we're on the bar. Another thing that we're implementing is this. This is the thing that you're going to want to take and keep for yourself. I can send Nicole the company, but it's actually, it's called Send Text. And you get people who come into the club that enroll in a text blast system. So here's what we're going to do. And we're starting this next week. So we're going to have people enroll into our text blast system. And they're going to get a free booster, meaning a liftoff, probiotic, or beauty booster by enrolling into the text blast system. Now, because it's going to their phone and they're a customer of yours in your POS, you can send out a mass text to 100 to 1,000 to 2,000 people, whoever's enrolled in that. Hey, Customer Appreciation Day, Friday, the whatever, $3 off all combos, share this, send it to your friends. But because it's not on social media, you're able to do it because it's going to somebody individually. So he's kind of working our way around, like, you can promote other stuff. Like I believe on their birthday, they'll get a text and say, hey, happy birthday from Lake Michigan Nutrition. Stop in today for a free birthday cake shake on the house. The company is called Sentext. Sentext, I believe. I can send it to Nicole. I gotta look it up. But yeah, the Customer Appreciation Days have been major.
A logistical thing on the Customer Appreciation Day. So when you do something like that, $3 off all combos, does that come out of what would be in the like contribution, like Shake Teen Owl, or come from like out of the $6 the operator keeps?
Comes out of that. So here's what we do. Good question. So usually they'll pay in $6 per consumption that they do. On Customer Appreciation Day, they keep everything, meaning they take the full $6 and all they pay into the club is 10% of that. Here's the cool thing. The money that we make in tips, so tips go to the house, the money that we make in tips makes up for the lack of the $3 that they're not paying in because it's Customer Appreciation Day. It's weird how it works. So the club actually makes the same amount. They just pay the 10% in. And it ends up being like $100 each usually.
Another question. So how often do you have the Customer Appreciation Days?
Once a month. Once a month on a Friday. So casual Friday, people wear jeans to work. People usually go out to eat on Fridays for work. They get paid on Fridays. They're going, they're in a good mood. They're going out with their friends tonight, So it's just kind of taking advantage of all of that.
This has been so good, guys. I don't know if there's anything. Seriously, Michael has been super awesome with his time this evening. And if there's anything, even the question that's floating in your mind where you're like, I don't know, is that like a weird question to ask? That's kind of simple. Ask it. Even if Nutrition Club isn't like tomorrow and it's down the road, like ask those questions as well.
I have one, EJ. I'm Amanda. Thank you for doing the call.
Yeah, Amanda.
I know you were saying about the duplication, being duplicatable. Did you have those conversations?
Be the process.
Mace, 1 second. How did you have that conversation with somebody? Like they showed interest in doing it themselves, or like how did that conversation happen as far as like doing what you're doing? Because I feel like what we have started, because we're doing the satellite, I feel like is kind of like, oh my gosh, can I do that?
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing is for you guys to ask yourself, like, what's going to be attractive long-term and what's going to be easiest for somebody to do, right? So you guys, if you're doing the satellite, you feel comfortable enough allowing people to come into the house to do that. Now, for Carly and I, like the last thing that I want is to bring people in here around Mason and see like all the stuff that we have, right? So you guys can just get to ask, like, how quick do we want to go get a retail spot? Like, where would we need to be at consumption-wise? What pin level will we need to be at? How much money do we each need to be making a month to go get that spot that's like, hey, this is where we started. Here's where we're at now. And then that is easy easier to duplicate than doing it the satellite way. But usually you'll be able to tell, right? So we have this thing of like when if you work there for more than a year, even like 6 to 8 months, it's kind of, and you're killing it. Like we have a girl, Shannon, she's frontline. She's about to hit first cut of global expansion team. She's getting to the point where she's been there. She has a group of girls that also work at the club, and it's kind of like, hey, it's time. Like, go get your own spot now. Not because we want her out, but because we know what it's going to do for her business long term by going and getting her own spot. She's going to have more people under her that can work the bar. She's going to move up the marketing plan faster. She's able to duplicate out of that, and so on. So I think it's just case by case, but usually you'll be able to tell. Like the girl Taylor, who's been in for 3 months, going to do 10K this month. Like she's ready to go open a club. Like she can't yet, unless it's with Carly and Iris, which is what we're working on. But she could go open a club. She could open it last month, and she would have killed it. So and now we've had people that's been there 6 months, and I'm like, you're not even close to being ready. You can't even turn the open sign on when you get there in the morning. Yeah, I can share all that, Alex. I think does Nicole have the recipe book? Yeah. So if you can just send that out.
In your menu as well.
Yeah.
Guys, I'll post it in the chat she put together for this call. So you guys
Yeah.
I have a question. So, I wanted to know, like, because I was just thinking, if people, like, when we do open up a nutrition club, what if someone wants, like, they really enjoy a tea, but they want it, like, in a gallon or like a larger container? Like, is it a way you can, like, cost it out or something to give them, like, maybe a gallon of tea or something? Or have you tried that before?
I think Herbalife just made it illegal. We were selling tea by the gallon. Like we had this dude, right? We had this dude, Anthony. Used to sell weed, hustler. Man, he would sell gallons of tea, like tea by the gallon. He'd be like 3 for $5 or like 3 for $15, 4 for $7. Like he would hustle. He would literally sell gallons of tea. But I guess it's either Herbalife made it illegal or the health department, one of them, but it got shut down. Now what you can do is you can say, hey, look, you can buy the tea at home and I can show you what we use. Boom, you have a customer. So you just kind of flip it that way and say, hey, look, you're going to spend $20 on 3 gallons of tea from me. Why not spend, 60 on the large tea that's going to get you a hell of a lot farther than this will. And then here's where we get this. You can get they don't need to get it through Abundant Life. They can get some mix at like Walmart or something, or the grocery store and the Kool-Aid aisle that's like sugar-free or whatever, and mix it in with the tea.
Going off of that, when someone comes in, because obviously we're talking about consumption, shake, tea, and aloe, how do you handle when the person comes in and they're like, I only want a shake, or I only want a tea? Is it just like, no, well, we do shake, tea, and aloe, or? So
they can get just the tea. They can't get just a shake. So we just explain to them, hey, look, if you just want just the shake, no problem. However, it's going to be the same price. But what I can do is I can give you like double aloe shot, but it is going to be the same price. So if you know somebody who would want the tea, you want to have the tea for later. We've had people say, oh, yeah, I'll give it to my coworker or something. But yeah.
One quick question. How you gain preferred members from consuming? Is it something that you wait until they, oh, by the way, my name's Araceli. I didn't even mention that. Thank you for this call. Is there something that's out there posted somewhere about becoming a preferred member and getting a discount, or is it something that you wait for them to initiate that conversation?
It can be both. We've put on like one of those, what are those boards? Hey, Carl, what are those boards that we had on the counters? Like those the boards that you had sitting on the counter that had like announcements and stuff on it. Yeah. So you could do like a letter board or like a chalkboard that like sits on a counter that says, or right on the menu, something about like, ask us about making your own shakes at home. Or sometimes it gets just brought up in conversation of like, man, like we've had it where I spent so much money here. Like I'm here all the time. So I want you to become part of our discount program. So we language it like become part of our discount program, and I can show you how to make the shakes at home. You just order this, you order this. Here's what pudding you get from Walmart, and you're good to go. Crazy thing is they become a PM, and they still come into the club every single day. Weird. So it's good. It's good for us, but I think most of it just comes through like listening to conversation and getting to know people. Like you'll get to know people so well, probably more than you want to know. But then you can start to give advice based on what they're sharing. Like we have a girl that's in our business right now who just complained about her job every day. I'm like, listen, why don't you quit your job and just work here? Seriously? Yeah. Okay. Now you can't be complaining here every day, but just in conversation, it's like you can start to give that advice and all that good stuff. But it'll happen more than you think. Like people will say, man, you guys do a lot of shakes a day, a lot of consumptions a day. Like, is it just that? I'm like, no, we get a lot of customers and PMs and distributors. It's a machine.
And when you set them up as a PM, or they're just consumers, they just come in on a daily, you're not talking, they're just coming in to drink shake and tea. There's no like meal plan or meal guide where you're helping them. Okay.
You can also do like 3-day trials in the club. So obviously you have a 3-day trial packet, make them at home, come into the club 3 days in a row for breakfast and lunch, get a tea both times. We'll weigh you in. So you're tying Herbalife into it. You just get to get creative with it and work on your languaging around like what makes sense language-wise for people that have no idea what Herbalife is. It's almost like a softer approach. And then once they're interested in PM or distributor, then it's calls, events, chats, and so on. We just found that, look, we would have people that would come in and they would get thrown into the mix right away. And they would almost lose interest in Herbalife because it's so much. It's too much. They'd go to STS and they'd be like, oh my gosh, it was such a long day. So we would lose people that way. Now it's kind of like soft approach, let them feel it, let them taste it, and so on. And we're good.
Awesome, guys. All right. If that is all for questions, well, I do have one, but you kind of answered it. Like, are there any in-house perks or discounts for PMs, Michael? Like once someone signs up, or is it just kind of straightforward?
It's just kind of straightforward, yeah.
Awesome, guys. Any other questions? This call is recorded. Nicole is super awesome. So she'll probably post it up in the chat. But anyone going once?
Carly and I will be out there as well in a few weeks. So
Ooh.
If you guys need anything or you want to do something or get together and do Q&A or something, just let us know.
Yeah.
I can anytime.
That'd be awesome. Thank you. Thank you for giving us so much of your time tonight. This call went almost 2 hours. So we really appreciate you. Congratulations again on Second Cut. Soon to be official. Super excited to celebrate you guys over here in California and everywhere, because we're actually not all in California on this call. But
you guys are all in Nicole's group?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I'm Philly over here.
Yeah, we're all part of the dream team. But yeah, I think our really big thank you gets to be us stepping into this, you know, wherever that is on the timeline for everyone individually here, us stepping into it and really using what you've given us tonight and applying it, and seeing how it takes off. It's a new thing in my town personally. There's no one like really in the general, there's no one at all in the general market that has a nutrition club. So I'm excited to be a part of that, and I'm excited to utilize all of these 10 pages of notes I just took on this call. But if, I don't know if you have any final closing thoughts, Michael, but if there's nothing else, we can say goodnight.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I think this is one of the things that like Nicole might not say or whatever. I just think there's like, so for Carly and I, like, I'm just so invested into getting him to 30, 40, 50, 60, 70K diamonds. So this really gets to be like, you know, so for Carly and I going from 2.5 get to, I think, into 15K cuts next month, I'm just super excited to see what you guys can do as an organization. This is, and I told Nicole the other night, I was like, this is your 30, 40K deal right here. Like once these things take off on top of everything. So if you're starting at Prez, like this is where Nicole goes 2, 3, 4, 5 pin changes in the next 2 years, you know? So I would just encourage you guys to get tied to that for sure, of getting her there. Not because like you want to see her get there, because you do, but like you have to understand, like in a 30K organization where I think you guys could go to in a hurry, you get to decide how big a piece of that you get to be. So that requires you guys going 2, 3, 4, you know, pin changes and playing the game that way. Not so like, oh, Nicole is 30K, this is awesome. But like, yeah, Nicole is 30K and I'm Mill or I'm Prez or I'm 15K and so on. So we've been playing that game with Jay of like, look, like his group is invested into him getting to Chairman's Club. So I would just say take that on and you know, become that top organization in the Addy org. See what happens. You never know. You don't have to be frontline to be the top organization in the Addy org.
Fire me up. Fire me up.
This could be the top organization in the Addy org. You never know. But I would just say, why not? And if you guys need anything, Facebook, Instagram, call, text. Nicole has my number. Samson has my number. And we'll be out there. So I'll give you guys anything that you want or need. Just let me know.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. Thank you for this call. Thank you for this evening, Nicole. I know we can't see your beautiful face, but thank you for making a point to set this up, to, you know, be the bridge and helping us all get the wheels rolling on this. So thank you, Nicole. You guys are awesome. I guess we'll say good night. Good night. Beautiful. Thank you, Michael. You're amazing.
Thanks,
Thank
Mike.
you.
Good night.